Good morning, church. Hope you're doing well. Last time I shared from Psalm 121 and looked at the first couple of verses of that psalm, which says, I lift my eyes up to the hills. From where does my help come? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. And this psalm is a psalm of trust, a song which we sung to God to remind us of how he keeps us and helps us. And as I mentioned last time, it's one of 15 psalms which fall into this category of the songs of ascent, songs that would have been sung by pilgrims going to Jerusalem at some point during the year, several times during the year, as they made their way to Jerusalem for one of the feasts and festivals that happened there. And I said last time how they would look to the hills of around Jerusalem, and they were symbols in those times, and actual places in those times where pagans, non-Jews would worship false gods, worship the Baals, and have high places to sacrifice to these false gods. And they would represent this place of worldly religion and worldly sacrifice. But the hills were not the places to find help. Creation and the grandeur and beauty of creation was not a place to find help, but in fact the help that these Jews would find would be from the Lord, from him who made the creation, who made heaven and earth. And it's so true that our help doesn't come from any worldly religious system or from creation itself, but comes from the Lord. And the psalm continues just to speak of that trust and promise from making God your help. I'm just going to read verses 3 and 4 now. Just think about those for a few minutes. Verse 3 says, He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. We read there, and for the rest of the chapter, that God keeps us, that he will not let our foot be moved. And obviously, it doesn't mean that we will never stumble in life and that life will treat us kindly. It goes on to say in verse 6, the sun shall not strike you by day nor the moon by night. That this psalm is not necessarily saying that life will be all rosy, but it does say that we won't be moved in the middle of challenges that come our way. That God is firm, our firm foundation, and that although we may be moved externally, our faith in God will keep us rooted and trusting in him. And we know that's true because it goes on to say in verse 3 that he who keeps us will not slumber. He'll neither slumber nor sleep. 3 times there, the idea of God not sleeping. And it kind of reminds me of Elijah. When Elijah challenged the prophets of Baal in 1 Kings 18 to a challenge, and they went to the top of Mount Carmel and built these altars, and Elijah says, call Elijah to come and set fire to this altar. Let's see the strength of Baal. And obviously nothing happens to this altar, and Elijah kind of pokes fun at them and says, maybe Baal's sleeping. And this idea that the gods of the world, because they don't answer, because they're untrustworthy, that they're sleeping. But not so with God. We know in the Elijah story that God did bring down fire from heaven and consume that altar and that sacrifice. And here we also see that God is not a God who sleeps, not a God who doesn't answer, who's not involved, but a God who is fully alert and fully aware all the time. Something that can't always be said of us. I'm sure some of us have dozed off at times and not been aware of what's going on around us. Think of the disciples in the garden and how they dozed off when Jesus needed them to pray in his hour of need. But God is not like that. God is not like false gods. God is not like humans. He's always awake and he's always alert to our needs, alert to our lives. And that is an amazing promise from this psalm, that the one who we look to for our help is never going to sleep. He's never going to sleep on the job and doze off and be unaware, but he's always involved and is always keeping us and not letting us be moved. I hope that's encouraging. It certainly is to me. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. God bless.